Hey, welcome to Lead a Life Uncommon. This is Mary Bicknell, former psychotherapist turned badass success coach for women entrepreneurs who are ready to bust through any average, anything common, and finally create a life and a business where you can do whatever the hell you want to do whenever you want to do it. Ready? Let's go. Hi, how are you? Today is going to be one of those conversations where you're really going to want to take a pause and a moment to decide how you're going to want to handle what we're going to be talking about, which is procrastination and resistance. So this is really for you if you've ever had that moment where you've truly stopped yourself from going for it. This is for you if you wonder about procrastination and why you're like, you really want the big, bold thing, and yet, guess what? You're not doing it. This is for you if there's this push and pull for creating a life that you want, creating the goals that you want, doing actually the things that you want to do that matter. That's what really this is about what truly matters. So love to see you give me like a high five, a comment. Where are you watching from? Have you ever experienced procrastination? Have you ever had resistance to you stepping more fully into your greatness, into your leadership, into your calling, into your mission, into creating an abundant life, a wealthy life? Right? Let's see that. And if you're watching the replay, wherever you're watching this, hi. I'd love for you to just be like #replay, you rock Mary. Great. So today, let's really get serious. You know, one of my clients recently was caught up in what I call delusional denial. It's one of the blind spots that I teach and talk about, one of the 5 major blind spots that I talk about, delusional denial. What does that even mean? Anybody guess? What is an example of someone who's in delusional denial? It sounds like this. Hey, how's it going? How you doing? And they're like, everything's fine. Everything's good. When the house is falling down around them, chaos is a muck, and yet they're in that place of just pretending, denying what's happening. And someone could look at that like that is really the resistance. And that is part of the puzzle, right? Part of the puzzle about resistance is identifying when you're in denial. When you're in denial. And also when you're in truth about resistance means something. Procrastination means something. That's what we're going to also talk about. I want to help you reframe how you look at these words, how you experience resistance, how you experience procrastination, and how to really understand whether there's a true message in there or whether, sister, you're screwing up, you're fucking everything up, and you're sabotaging yourself, which looks like that delusional denial. So let's talk about resistance first. I mean, when you think about resistance logically, it's a push against momentum moving forward. We're pushing up against something. We're pushing up against something. Sometimes we're pushing against something and it's needed, right? Let's get out of like everything has to be so easy. Sometimes there's resistance and that's normal and expected because you're doing something new, my friend. You're doing some big new goal. Your brain is seeking to screw you up. Your brain is seeking to not support you. Your brain is giving you the resistance about moving forward. That's its job. Your brain wants to keep you safe. Anytime you try something new, it feels hard. There is resistance because it's a change. Here's the thing today. I want you to write down, because today I really want you to be in action mode and be in implementation and execution mode. So in this moment right now, whether you can write it down, you're welcome to put it in the comments. It's like, what are you resisting? What are you aware of resisting? Love to hear your comments, whether you're watching this live or in a replay. And have you asked yourself, what's one thing I can do in this moment, meaning right now, even if you have to come back to this later, what's one thing that I can do to take one step forward, walking through that pressure of resistance to get you to your goal? What is one single thing? What's one single thing that you can do today? It's like I have this visual about resistance. It's almost like, have you ever seen where they show like a big snowstorm and they open the door and like the snow is all right there? I feel like resistance is like you're walking through that snow. Or have you ever been in a windstorm where it's just like you could almost get blown over? And it's like you're pushing through and the wind is pushing you back. That is that moment of that friction of resistance is exactly what happens when you're moving towards your goal. And of course, your brain's like, God, it's really hard pushing against this. See, if you really want what you say you want, and you really want to create a big, bold life in biz, or you really want to experience the regret-proof life, this is that moment. So write down right now, what's one single thing that you can do to move through your resistance? Jane says, I think I'm resisting setting down a plan and strategy for my business. Oh, so good. Why do you think that is? What is the resistance? I think I know the answer because I've seen these kind of questions before. So thank you, Jane, so much for sharing. First of all, if you say, I think I'm resisting, you probably are. So if you know you're resisting, like what does that mean for you? Here's some strategies to help you, Jane. One could be that today, right now, you clear something off your schedule. So that may mean that Saturday morning, instead of whatever, doing yoga, or you're going to get up a little bit earlier and sit down and write your plan. It may mean that you are saying no to something that you've said yes to, so that you have time to do that. Here's what I know to be true. A lot of times when we're resisting doing the thing that we know can help us move forward, as in writing down a plan and strategy for your business, we're doing that out of fear that you're going to write down the wrong thing or that the plan's not going to work. Here you go. She says, I'm scared of committing to success it could bring me. Excellent. That is one of the other blind spots that I talk about, fear of success and failure. Thank you for sharing that. So a lot of times we have resistance to developing the thing that to get us success. Here's why a lot of women have fear around success. Share if this is true for you. Although we say we want success, now this is a mind bender, so pay attention. Although we say we want success, a lot of times we can fear it because what we've defined as success. So defined as success could be, I have to be more responsible. I'm already working so much as it is. Oh my God, now I'm going to be working even more and I'm exhausted. It could look like, all my friends, they say things to me like, who do you think you are going to go for it? Or if you're like, I want to make a shit ton of money, and they're like, oh, well, look at her. And what happens is sometimes success means you're actually going to be having to make hard decisions about people in your life. Sometimes the truth of the matter is being a leader and being successful sometimes means that you're on that that road by yourself. Sometimes it's a fear of like abandonment. Sometimes it's a fear of like, in a sense, you're losing status among your friends, even though you think you gain status, but really you're losing that connection. I'm wondering if that makes sense to you, right? Success brings responsibility, financial responsibility, building a business, hiring people, like all of these things. And it can also mean like all my friends that I look around, none of them are at the level of success that I want. And if I become more successful than them, oh my God, maybe I'm not going to want to be friends with them anymore. I feel that fear of success and strategy too. Gold. Thank you. I'm really resisting booking free discovery calls. My fear is giving up my time to people who don't respect it or will ghost me. Okay. Janae.
Let's talk a little bit that I'm afraid of responsibility and giving more of my time. Excellent. Yes, resonating with me. Oh, good, Jane. I'm so glad. Okay. So I really appreciate what you're saying about booking discovery calls. So for those of you who are watching that are like, what's a discovery call? A discovery call could look like a sales call. It could look like a business consultation. It could look like an opportunity for you to really connect with a potential ideal client. And so you say fear of giving up my time to people who don't respect it or will ghost me. Okay, so let's really talk about this. And then we're going to talk about procrastination. You're procrastinating, right? Your resistance to book the calls and resistance and procrastination are like cousins, right? Because the resistance against doing the thing feeds procrastination. So here you go. So here's a couple bottom line strategies around just doing discovery calls. First of all, whenever anybody's newer in their business, you need to do discovery calls. You need to get on sales calls. Why? Because you have to practice the art and the skill of selling. You have to practice the art and the skill of asking questions. Now, I'm not here saying just give your time away. I certainly don't mean that. Eventually, I think that well, here's a couple things. Number one is if your marketing is effective, you will only attract your ideal client. Number one. Number two, as you build your business, I believe strongly, this is one of the things I teach in one of my programs, is that we filter out and qualify people before they even have an opportunity to talk to you. So you can do that. And even saying that you're concerned about people ghosting you, like those aren't your people, right? I call it like tire kickers, right? Tire kickers are going to show up, try and pick your brain, or some people are just going to schedule a time where they don't show up. So it's rare. It's extremely rare in my business that I would ever have somebody not show. It's like, I don't even know the last time, but here's how I handle that just as an FYI. If somebody no-shows anything, short of somebody dying, they're like out of my world. They're blocked. They're removed. Why? Because you don't respect my time. If you don't respect my time, we're never going to work together. So why even be part of my world? It doesn't even make sense to me. Now, not everybody is like badass like that. So to the point about ghosting, if you fear that people are going to not show, then what that really tells me is that you are not solid in your marketing. You're not speaking to your ideal client, and that maybe you have some hesitancy about respecting yourself, because when you respect your own message, you naturally will show up that way and only bring in people that will respect it as well. Does that make sense? Great boundaries, resonates with me, all of the things. Thank you for sharing that. So again, I want to encourage you to get on some discovery calls, practice, see who shows up. Maybe you have 10 people that book a call and 2 people ghost you. Okay. So what if those 8 people, what if 2 of those 8 people you closed $3,000? That's $6,000. Is it worth it to you? Here's the other thing. All of you, I believe this is one of the things I teach. You need to put on your calendar times to have these discovery calls or these sales calls. If you don't book somebody during that time, great. That's the perfect time to do some of the relationship marketing that I teach, or reaching out and making other connections. It's not the time to go watch Netflix. It's a business appointment. If no one booked that time slot, it doesn't matter. That's still work time. You're welcome. You're welcome. I need to fill out a better filter and clearer marketing, still figuring out my ideal client, transitioning from working with kids. Yes. Great. Of course, I can help you with that. Make sure that for those of you who are unaware, inside of my Facebook group, we have a social media challenge, a client attraction challenge. Get visible, get clients. And it's really talking about this. It's talking about client attraction. It's talking about how to show up in a way that brings to you your ideal client, or get your message out. We also have a copywriter coming in, you guys. The copywriter that works inside of my programs, brilliant guest expert, will be coming in and talking about how to articulate your message and get it out there and to really show up. So definitely, and if you're watching this as a replay, whenever you're watching that, comment, and if it's still going on, I'll send you the link to the Facebook group. If it's not, guess what? There will be replays. Okay, let's talk about procrastination. I want to help you think a little bit more about what procrastination means. here's a couple things. See if this resonates with you. Again, I want you to be taking action right now. Ask yourself, here's the real question about procrastination. First of all, when you identify the resistance, right, you're pushing against something, sometimes you have to acknowledge that's normal because you're growing, right? But if we give into resistance too much and we don't follow through, it really feeds the procrastination, then just becomes a terrible cycle. Here you go. I want to ask you a question. Are you procrastinating out of fear? Are you procrastinating out of not listening to your gut? Here's the third question. Are you procrastinating, or is it that you're actually just being quiet and still so that you can hear your own thoughts? It kind of is the same thing, trusting your gut and hearing your own thoughts, right? What happens is sometimes it's like, I put that off and I can't believe I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Well, sometimes maybe you need to ask yourself, why the hell am I not doing the thing I say I'm going to do? I'm procrastinating. I always procrastinate. First of all, if you always procrastinate and you keep telling yourself, I always procrastinate, what do you think your brain's going to try and do? It's going to prove you right. You always procrastinate. Here you go. Let me give you all these ways that you can procrastinate. But I want to uplift and elevate your thinking about yourself. I want to support you in recognizing your own brilliance. Could it be that sometimes you, quote, procrastinate because the thing that you say that you want is literally the wrong thing? It's the wrong idea. You're in the, I think I should be doing it mode, but I'm not doing it mode, i.e. procrastination, because what if it's actually the wrong idea? And you have just gotten to a point in life that you don't listen to your own gut instinct anymore. You don't listen to your own inner thoughts. You've lost trust in yourself. So you're procrastinating, and it's a negative because you haven't even asked yourself, do I even want that thing? Right? Here's the second piece of that. Is that instead of procrastinating and you're putting off, what about turning that around and being deliberate and being in stillness and quiet to hear your own thoughts? Oh, I think procrastinating because I'm giving myself too many other things to do. Well, I think I procrastinate because I'm giving myself too many other things to do. I mean, that at least you can acknowledge you're giving, that's a choice, right? You're choosing to spend time in one area, which takes time away from another area. It also sounds like when you're in crazy busy and my to-do list is so long, right? Lori says, be still and be bold. Perfect. When you're too busy as a procrastinating tactic, that's delusional denial, my friend. That is when you're just lying to yourself. Just like I was talking about with this. My client just lied to herself. So today, in summary, we're going to end now. Decide on recognizing resistance is your brain's way of protecting you, and that with change, typically there's some resistance. Procrastination, ask yourself, and so your action item today, your bold action step today is, what's one thing you could do to lean into that resistance and take action? Number two, procrastination, right? Resistance feeds procrastination. Ask yourself, am I procrastinating as like a coping mechanism, a survival mechanism? Or am I procrastinating because I'm not actually listening to my gut, listening to my own thoughts, that somehow I've lost trust that I know? And maybe you need to be still. Maybe you need to be quiet. Maybe you need to take those moments. You know, we talked not long ago in my mastermind about the difference between struggle, stillness, and settling. Not in a settling negative, but like settle into it. So how can you turn struggling with procrastination into allowing it to be still, allowing you to listen to your gut, allowing you to listen to your own thoughts, my friend, and reconnect with trusting yourself? You've lost trust with yourself by giving into resistance. You've lost trust with yourself by giving into procrastination. So I'm looking forward to hear what you have to say. I know that's a lot, and I really believe strongly that when you move away from delusional denial that everything's fine, and you sit and you listen and you ask yourself for the truth of what you want and who you are will come to the surface. Listen. Everything that you need is right inside of you right now. I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks for listening to Lead a Life Uncommon. I am so excited and pumped out of my mind for you. My job, my goal, my mission is to help you create the life that allows you to jump out of bed every single morning. And I know a lot of it comes from your thinking. I want to give you a little something. Head over to marybicknell.com/podcast. I want to give you the guide to your hidden thoughts about money and success. Inside, you're going to get some ahas about what might be holding you back from creating all the financial abundance that you want. We'll talk soon. Bye now.